Adam DeYoung Media. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you, Craig?
Pound it out.
Yeah, let's do
Monday
it.
morning, pow. So I gotta have my little DAP signals. It's interesting. We were talking the other week about social media and how it correlates to people in business and how most people are using it incorrectly.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we have traveled over the entire state from Greenwich to Hartford and beyond. And we talk to specifically realtors, really, to be honest with you, but business owners in general.
Yeah.
They're using it to push their message out as opposed to really connecting with people. You know what I mean? Social media, we use that term very broadly, but social media in general is a way to connect one-on-one with people. And businesses aren't used to doing that, and it's scary to some businesses.
Well, because everything is automated. So I used an example, and I hopefully Zillow, if they're listening, won't be too mad or won't shut down my page, because they're pretty powerful. They're the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And I said to a real estate class the other day, they're actually a bunch of newer agents that are being onboarded, taking the real estate exam. I said, I want you guys to think of Zillow like this. It's imagine me coming into your house in the middle of the night, taking your shoes, and then calling you the next morning going, hey, listen, Adam, I have this great pair of shoes. I'm going to sell them back to you.
For double what you paid for them.
That's what happens in the real estate industry. But what Zillow and Trulia, to their credit, what they've successfully been able to do is capture an emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people, can't wrap their head around. Is how does this work? How do I become a premier agent? Premier is your sphere of influence, and that's what I said to them is your relationships are key to your success, and that's in anything you do.
Well, what's interesting about Zillow and Trulia is that they have captured the consumer, right?
Yep.
So, and the problem for real estate professionals in general is that they have the consumer, and that's who you need to reach.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're like,
so.
oh crap, I need to get over here. This is where the consumers are.
Yeah.
But the beauty of social media is that actually you don't need Zillow and Trulia because you can connect directly with the consumer.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of doing it in the way that makes sense and connecting to the right people.
Yeah.
And so, you as a realtor, I know specifically you, but just realtors in general are very good networkers, typically.
Thank you.
So if you can translate that online to the social media world, then you can have a really successful conversation with consumers.
Yeah, and I mean, to your credit, when we were talking, because you handle a lot of my social media stuff, we talked about engagement posts.
Yeah.
But not posts that are plagiarism posts. And what I mean by that is you see something you like, you cut and paste it, and you don't follow up with your own quick comment or asking people, what do you think?
Right.
Or what do you like better? And I think a lot of people don't understand that, but also, posts that gain towards positivity, motivational posts. People like seeing that because in the period of a 12-hour day, depending on how many hours somebody works, someone needs a little pick-me-up.
Yeah.
And that emotional pick-me-up is sometimes just a little motivational quote from somebody famous who, got quoted.
Done better than me.
Who's done better than me, who made a little more money than me, right?
Yeah.
In my short time on this planet. But I think at the end of the day, what social media is all about and how people may think about it, and I think you and I both agree, it's all about these relationships. So when you post something, and I think to what I want to talk about with you is a little bit about your engaging agent product.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said is there's a reason that it's not working or catching on is because maybe sometimes people want to be lazy with social media. But the engaging agent, why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the engaging agent is a service that people can subscribe to.
Yeah.
Each week they get an email that has their social media posts planned out for them. But there are services out there that will just post for you, and you can pay $150 a month or whatever it is, and they post for you, and that's great. But what we say is it's doing you a disservice, really, to have those services post for you because you're not creating that connection with people.
Yeah.
You're not engaging with people. So unless you're doing it, physically you doing it, or you're interfacing with the person that's doing it on a very regular basis, you're missing an opportunity.
And it's not coming directly from you. It's not coming from your IP address.
That's right.
It's not coming directly from you.
It doesn't matter. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I post on your page all the time, so
Yep.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But we have interfaced on a very regular basis to identify what types of content you want to be sharing.
What time of day?
What time of day and how much.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's 5 times a day or 2 times a day. We've interfaced on that, you and I have. So when you hire a company like an Engage One-to-One, for instance, and I don't want to call anybody out, but just as an example, you don't interface with those people at all. All you do is you say, okay, here's my administrative password for Facebook, go at it. And then you, as the realtor, go, all right, I don't have to worry about it. Somebody else is doing it on my behalf.
And that goes to my point, is the Zuckerberg analytic, we
Yeah.
call it, right? Nobody can ever figure this maze out. It's like taking spaghetti, wet spaghetti, throwing it against the wall. Will it stick?
Yeah, right.
Maybe. And some of the posts that have caught this great traction,
Right.
I'm like, well, people like that? Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah.
And you can't make sense of it. And so I think, again, is to genuinely or uniquely be you with your posts and not to be something you're not.
But that's another good point, though. I mean, if you think about it, if you think about one of these companies that posts for you, they're not looking, unless you're paying them a big amount of money, not just the baseline, they're
No.
not looking at your analytics. They're not
Yeah.
deciding, okay, on your page you had this post about a refrigerator, of all things, right?
A refrigerator.
And it had, a refrigerator.
Painted
Literally
gray.
probably the most boring thing you could probably think of ever, right? But all of a sudden people were interested in it
Yeah.
because it had something unique, something engaging.
Yeah.
So, but if I was posting just as an automated service on your behalf, we would never look at those analytics and realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should be posting more stuff like this, more
Yeah.
stuff that's more real estate specific,
Yeah.
but engaging at the same
Yeah,
time.
and I think whether it's you're an agent or it's you're in business in some other capacity, brick and mortar. Here right now we're at Cafe Dolce in Norwalk.
Yeah.
Great coffee. I actually took off a couple weeks of coffee just to give myself a break.
That's
it was,
good,
It was,
yeah.
it was becoming a habit. It was becoming a problem. I was needing the coffee hotline 1-800-HELP-ME-COFFEE.
Help Me Coffee,
It wasn't,
yeah.
So. At the end of the day, what I think it ended up coming down to was
So this is tea. This is tea, right?
This
Okay,
is
good.
tea, absolutely. And so I thought, what if we could, basically give advice to all these business owners and all people who are trying to engage people and say, make sure your content's genuine. So as an agent, what I'm looking for is to engage people in community.
Yeah.
It's not about, let me show you the newest house that's coming on the market. My page shouldn't read something like Zillow or Trulia.
Right.
It should read something more based along the lines of something that's real, original content. So myself,
Because what is your competitive advantage against Zillow and Trulia, right?
Is that
You're
it's
not gonna
genuinely
have-
me.
It's genuinely you. You're not going to have all the listings. You're not going to have all the bells and whistles on
Yeah.
your website, because those things, they spend millions and millions of dollars. Your competitive advantage is you are based in Southport.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
the community.
Yeah.
You live in Norwalk, so
Yeah, yeah.
you know Fairfield County.
Yeah, yeah.
That is your competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
So by posting your listings, by sharing articles,
Yeah.
you're throwing that advantage out the window.
just boom.
Right.
And it's
Forget it.
throwing money out the window.
Exactly.
They talk about premier agent. Premier agent, they use that word. It's a powerful word. You're
Yeah,
a premier agent. You're
sure.
successful.
Right.
And so you're buying into the idea of success, but really what you're doing is you're buying leads, but you're not really buying leads. What you're buying is the opportunity to speak with somebody who might or might not use your services.
Right.
And it's the same in any other business. I think it was Expedia,
Yeah.
was it with the airline?
Oh, yeah.
Or Hotels.com.
Yeah.
So their model was really, it was just if you take the square box and you said 90% of the box was filled with already rented rooms from the hotel.
Yeah.
But Expedia or Hotels.com came along and said, this 10%, if we fill it, will you give us a commission?
Right.
Well, what ended up happening is, since most people go online for most of their stuff,
Yeah.
they knew ahead of time, guess what? Eventually you're gonna end up coming to us, and now we're gonna end up owning the hotel.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
end up telling the hotel what to charge.
Right.
We're gonna end up telling the hotel how much they're gonna pay us.
Yeah.
And it put it at such a great disadvantage because you need us.
Yeah.
And so I think if we can get back to the sense of community and utilize the information on the internet, that's powerful. Now again, Zillow and Trulia, successfully they've captivated emotion. I don't see them going anywhere, but what I do see is how do you navigate in a marketplace to be successful?
They might not be going anywhere, but the trick is that you need to. So now the trick is, let's just go with that premise that Zillow and Trulia are going to be forever
Yeah,
around, right?
totally.
Now you need to find a way as a realtor to fit into
Yeah.
the world
Yep.
that includes Zillow and Trulia.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
stop complaining about it and start figuring out
Do
how to
it.
find
Yeah.
your lane. you
Yeah.
know? And your lane, most people's lane, I think, for realtors, is social media because you can demonstrate your expertise and
Yeah.
share your knowledge of an area that you're
Absolutely.
very knowledgeable about. I mean, you grew up in this area, right?
I did. I grew up in Norwalk.
So, you know this area better than anybody.
Yeah,
You
know pretty
so
well.
So I can come to your page and learn about, because I live in Milford and I grew up in Massachusetts, so I don't know this area as well as you do. So, but I can come to your page and say, oh, wow, this guy really knows about.
You know what the other thing is? I think it was the relationships with my fellow agents. When,
Yeah.
say, for instance, if I get a referral that's out of state,
Yeah.
is that I learn about the area in which I'm referring out, but just as a client's going to be looking for a particular home or an agent to work with, I'm looking for their agent to team up with, to help. Because again, it's a service business, it's emotional.
That's right.
And I always say when I'm going out with my buyers, it's like a date. We're going out on a date to find that home that they go, oh my God, I want to marry this home.
Right, right.
And that emotion is so high that Zillow and Trulia have successfully captured that with beautiful pictures, great content. They came along with the Zestimate, you know,
But
all of these
they're
different
not,
things.
but they don't have what you have.
No.
But think about this, right?
Yeah.
Think about this. People always say to me, oh, I don't want to post about a local restaurant. Why does anybody care that I went out to eat at this restaurant last night? And think about it this way. If I come onto your page and I'm a potential client, I'm not a client yet, but I'm a potential client, and I notice that, oh, you went to the same restaurant. Now, it might seem silly and arbitrary to post about your dinner out or your night out with your wife or you know where you take the kids on the weekend, whatever. That might seem silly and arbitrary, but to somebody that is making
meaningful. It's a connection.
It's a meaningful
a common
connection.
ground.
Exactly.
And you know, listen, I don't knock the businesses of Zillow and Trulia. If you can successfully sell back information and do it in a way that you can capitalize, how amazing is that? Awesome. All right, brother.
Nice.